Well, hello there. I'm just someone you know, and today I'm going to be doing a retrospective on Pokemon games during the Switch generation. Before we begin, just take a peek at this graph. I mean, you don't want to be there. You want to be like there. And I don't know where this is. I'm adding this in post. And let's pop LaCroix and get into it. Back in 2018, the Pokemon Company released Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, first Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch. These games were a step towards the more open console Pokemon games that we would see later in the generation, while also easing Pokemon Go players into the main series. While they did have some negatives, uh, like it being a remake of Kanto, which brought some oversimplicity and some very easy balancing. Overall, even though they were definitely more kiddie than previous games, they definitely served their purpose. And they were just really fun, honestly. Like, if you weren't going in there trying to get a challenging Pokemon experience, you could have some fun with them. They won't blow your mind. They're not like life-changing game, but not every game has to be. Some games can just be fun. They also added the Pokeball Plus, an accessory that added to the feel of the game more than utility. It's a little more than just a Wii wheel, but it's not much. It has a stick, a button, well, the stick is the button, and motion controls. It was overall a pretty fun accessory to use, and you needed it to get Mew, which was an interesting choice. It's very Pokemon Company. Pokemon Company makes a lot of consumer unfriendly choices, and I personally don't associate them with Nintendo a lot because honestly, I mean, Pokemon Company isn't nearly as bad as like Ubisoft, but they're getting there. Just give them a decade. Uh, I honestly think Nintendo's holding them back from microtransactions and stuff. So the next game that was released was Pokemon Sword in 2019, and a lot of people have a lot of feelings about Sword. Sword is a very controversial game. I personally had a lot of fun with it, but I understand where a lot of people have problems with it and why they have the problems. Personally, I have always enjoyed Sword more than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but I'll get into that more in the Scarlet and Violet portion. But before I continue next part, just remember, this is just my opinions. It's not that serious. It's Pokemon games. Okay? Because I'm gonna praise Sword, and some people don't like that. From launch, Pokemon Sword was faced with a barrage of criticism. Some of it deserved, and some of it not. It was Pokemon Company's first mainline Pokemon game on console, and it definitely showed some growing pains. The trees looked like shit. Let's just get past that part. They looked like literal crap. And the cutting of the national decks was kind of big deal. I wouldn't have had nearly as much of a problem if they didn't just sell it back to us with the DLC. Well, actually, with the DLC, since you could technically trade them up to non-DLC copies, it's actually kind of better, but it's still a problem. And I just think Pokemon Sword definitely did a lot bad, but also did a lot of good. I mean, it's just a fun Pokemon game. What else can you ask for? I've played a couple other Pokemon games, and they can be annoying at times. And Sword definitely had its annoyances, but not nearly as many. And I think it's just streamlined to a fault where it's too easy and just not enough to do. But the raid battles and everything makes it pretty good. I personally really enjoy Pokemon Sword. And some people who dislike it, you know, they just hate on it for not being enough. And I understand that's not enough for some people, but honestly, I wish we could get more Pokemon games that were like Sword, where they're just following the Pokemon formula. And they didn't have to be this big reinventing the wheel like Scarlet and Violet. But again, saving that for the Scarlet and Violet portion. I don't want to spoil that. That's going to be fun. Then, the following year, in 2020, they released the DLC. And let me tell you, the DLC single-handedly brought Sword from a 7 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. Oh my gosh. The Crown Tundra was so good. I mean, so good. And the Isle of Armor wasn't bad either. I had a lot of fun there too. Although just the Crown Tundra really stole the show. With the DLC, Pokemon Sword feels like a full game. It feels like the DLC should have been there from the start. If the DLC was there from the start, I think people wouldn't have complained. It would have been perfect. But because they held that content out for DLC, I can see where the complaints are coming from. Wait, is that all you're gonna say about Pokemon Sword? Yeah? You're not gonna complain about the wild area and how they overhyped it when it was just a small, useless area that didn't supply much content? Or about how Dynamaxing just isn't a great gameplay mechanic? And you're not even gonna complain about how they cut my favorite Pokemon. I mean, I just didn't find those to be large problems. What's your favorite Pokemon anyways? Slowpoke. I don't know why that's funny. I just didn't expect that from you. But yeah, it's just, those things never bothered me. I don't know why. I just always found enjoyment with the game. And it wasn't like this big thing that I had to take seriously, if that makes sense. Like, it isn't like trying to be more than it is. But yeah, that's all we have said. Let's move on to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Okay, you can say what you want about how lazy the art style is, and how there being no platinum content was so stupid, but they were fun games. Like, they're the only challenging Pokemon games I've really played. And, I mean, a challenging Pokemon game is a challenging Pokemon game. It's really nice to have. Like, gosh. I didn't understand until that point why so many Pokemon fans fear the piano like it's a life or death. Until Cynthia pulls out the Garchomp and wipes your entire team. I died to the Elite Four. Do you know how crazy that is? Like, modern Pokemon games are so easy. I hadn't even considered losing to the Elite Four. I lost to the Elite Four in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. It's like, it's a really, really good game. And if you can get past the art style, which I know can be a struggle for a lot of people, and I understand why. I do understand the art style, and I think it's an interesting attempt to bring the older style into 3D. I personally believed it was definitely a bad decision, and got them way more hate than they deserved for these rudimentary remakes. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. They're not like these big things to me, because they're just remakes. And remakes don't matter that much, in my opinion. I know, blasphemy. But if Pokemon is determined to keep a yearly release schedule, which I think they missed 2024. Yeah. They actually missed 2024, which is really interesting. I guess they did do double games in 2022. So maybe that bought them some downtime. But yeah, it's just not something I care about that much. So moving on to The other Gen 4 game from Generation 8, Pokemon Legends Arceus, is just okay. I'm sorry if that makes you angry, I understand. It's not my favorite game in the series. I do enjoy it. I think its take on open worlds is much better than Scarlet and Violet, and I'm personally really excited for Legends ZA. But it's definitely baby steps. The lack of online battles or just player battles in general is crazy to me. And like no form of multiplayer at all. This is purely single player game. When Pokemon has always had the multiplayer element first, you know, like trading with your friends. And you can't do that really. It's like that you can't battle with your friends. This is something they had down in the 90s with the first generation. Do you know how buggy those generations were? Do you know about the bird type Pokemon? You do. You're a smart person. I trust you. But like, gosh. And these games don't have online online battles. That is just crazy to me. How could you do that? Other than the lack of online battles, I do quite enjoy these games. They are really good single player fun. But the lack of online battles always peeved me because, like, it's so simple. But I'm not gonna rant about that anymore. It's really, this game doesn't have staying power. Most Pokemon games have staying power where you can go back to them, and all Pokemon games feel kind of interconnected where, oh, I really want this thing. Well, I could go to this Pokemon game and then trade it up. And there is that, but not to a certain point that I would want. And it doesn't feel cohesive. But I do love the zone system, and the Pokemon that you ride on is great. The plot's pretty cool, and the ending is really, really good. I'm not gonna spoil it just in case you haven't played it, but definitely worth playing. This game's definitely still an 8 out of 10, but the lack of online battles brings it down for me in a way that is really frustrating. I also like just dodge rolling in Pokemon. Dodge rolling in Pokemon should have stayed for Scarlet and Violet, and well, yeah. Quick warning for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I do not like these games. These games aren't fun for me. I just don't have fun with them. I beat them, and then I was done. I wasn't gonna play past that point. So, incoming rant. Okay, where do I start with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? They're just not fun. I don't know what to say. Like, you could do open world Pokemon right. You have Legends Arceus. You just needed to take Legends Arceus, make it more open, and like not even like full open world, just like have like paths in between a lot of zones. Like imagine if there's a zone, 8 zones, one for each gym, and then there's like traditional Pokemon paths in between each of them. That would be so sick. That would be amazing. I would love that. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet implement an open world so poorly that it brings down the entire game. Like, okay, my first time playing Scarlet and Violet, I was able to glitch out of the starting area and catch like a level 30 Riolu in a cave. And did you not test your game? There's like this one cliff where if you do it just right, you can initiate a battle with a Pokemon on the other side of the cliff from the starting area to an outer area. Did they not debug their game? Gosh, I didn't get horrible lag. I think that's because I played it on the OLED. The Switch OLED runs things slightly better than original Switch. People with their 2017 model Switches, like, ugh, I feel so bad for them because honestly, I'm surprised they even ran this. But it's just, this game isn't fun. Like, I do all the missions, I do all the things, I beat the Elite Four, the champion. I have no drive to continue playing. With every other Pokemon game, after beating things, I've had a drive to keep on playing. And it's just not there with Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet feel like a test, or like, not even a test, like a demo that should have never been released to the public. They should have scrapped them and gone to the drawing board again. But we're stuck with this as a major Pokemon generation forever now. And I'm not happy with that. I don't like that. They aren't fun. They just aren't fun to me. I don't get it. I do not get why people like these games. And if you like these games, that isn't an attack on you. You can like these games. I don't. We won't be talking about the DLC because I didn't get the DLC because I don't like these games. I wasn't going to spend money. And believe it or not, even a Nintendo fan has his limits on how much he'll spend on Nintendo. There's a reason I only own like half the first party games, not all of them. I'm not going to play Xenoblade or Fire Emblem. They aren't my games. And Pokemon Scarlet and Violet isn't the type of game I like. Well, I don't want to end this video on a downer, so let's chat about the future. Pokemon Legends ZA is going to be really good. I have no doubt. But I'm scared for the switch to exclusive games. I'm afraid that they're going to go down the route of Scarlet and Violet, and instead of polishing and working on the formula like the Legends games, they're going to keep the old Pokemon formula and just shoving them in an open world. And we shouldn't want that. We as a community need to stand up and be like, either make games like the old games or games like Legends Arceus. We don't want this middle ground like Scarlet and Violet. Legends ZA looks like a really good step. But will they keep that momentum into the main series with Generation 10? I don't know. I cannot wait for the Black and White remix though. Calling it now, it's Black 3 and White 3, obviously. If they don't do that, I'm buying them day 2 instead of day 1. But yeah, it's just... Pokemon's a really fun series. And I don't like how it's going. And I hope they change. Well, that's been the retrospective. If you enjoyed, if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share this with your friends, that would do wonders for me. As a small creator, I can't grow without your help. And one day, if I could make this a job or something, that would be lovely. And I just thank you for all the support. I've had a few people who've been supporting me. I mean, 9 subscribers. Hopefully on this video we can hit the big 10. I'll have a special video for that. I wonder what I should do. Comment down below what I should do for 10 subscribers. I'm still experimenting. I want to make this style of content more, but I don't have the time to a lot of the time, especially once school starts back. Once school starts back, this style of content will be nearly impossible to create. So I have been enjoying making the shorts, and I'm going to keep making them how I've been making them. I promise to be more consistent. I've been struggling with that. I'm sorry. But I just don't know what to do with long form, because should I make more regular, lower quality videos, or should I make the occasional high quality video like this one? I'm loving making this video. I'm having fun, and I always want to have fun while doing this. I don't want this to feel like a chore, because I've tried doing this before. When it started feeling like a chore, I just couldn't do it anymore. That's the curse of ADHD. When it's fun, you do a lot. When it's a chore, you can't do it. And I don't want this to feel like a chore. So, thank you for all the support. See you.